Have you been beaten with an ugly stick? Are you wacky? No, I'm not talking about your appearance. I'm talking about fishing. Ugly Stick is a brand of fishing rod, and Wacky is a bait setup. So today I'm going to show you my fishing equipment and why I chose some of it, as well as 2 baiting techniques. I've been fishing since I was little, and I really hope you can take what I show you today and use it on your next bass fishing adventure. So the things you're going to need today is you're going to need your fishing rod and your fishing reel. Also, you're going to need worms, weights, a hook, and some line, with also scissors and pliers. So, onto my equipment. I'm going to show you my rod. I like this rod because according to Bass Pro, it's one of the most durable rods on the market. I also prefer this rod because it is 6 feet long. I like it to be 6 feet long because it fits perfectly in our car compared to the 7-foot ones that we may close the tip off of or break some of these eyes. I also like this rod because of the cork handle. I like the cork handle because whenever it gets muddy and nasty, you can still hold on to it way easier whenever you're out there fishing. Also, it's way easier to clean when you get back home compared to those other foam handles. I like my Shimano Sitica reel because of its 6.3 gear ratio, which means the spool will turn 6.3 times for every 1 turn of the handle, which makes me be able to catch up to more fish faster whenever they're coming straight at me. I also like this rod because of the drag. The drag is directly near my thumb whenever I caught a fish and I need to turn it up or down compared to other reels whenever they're on the opposite side. It just makes it way more handy to be over here. I also like this rod because it's a bait caster. Bait casters are way more accurate and easier to control compared to those push buttons and spinning reels that most people use. Now I'm going to teach y'all 2 of my bait setups, but before that we're going to start on the 9. I'm going to use this pipe cleaner and this hook because it's way harder to show up with this line and a little bitty hook. So all you have to do is you got to take the tip of the line and feed it through the eye of the hook. After you've done that, you take that tip and pull it all the way back up to pull it about a quarter of an inch up, and you twist the hook 5 to 8 times. And after you do that, there should be this little hole right here that you're going to feed the tip of your line through, that you put through the eye of the hook. After you've done that, you're just going to take it and pull tight. That is how you make a cinch knot. According to Drew Benton, the cinch knot is one of the most strongest and easiest knots to make. Now I'm going to show y'all how to make my wacky rig setup. First, you're going to take your hook and you're going to get whichever worm you'd like. I prefer to use worms over most lures because you can get a long worm, a short worm, a dull worm, a bright worm, sparkly worms, colorful worms, whatever you'd like, and you can set them up in so many different ways. But today we're going to do the wacky. So all you have to do is you have to take the middle of the worm and put it directly on the hook. And that is how you make a wacky style. But I'm going to show you my modified version, which is you still take the middle of the worm and put it on the hook, but you just slide the worm all the way up and pass the hook to where it's on the line. And then you're just going to, and I like it up here because whenever you're casting all day, you won't lose as many worms because it'll stay up here compared to whenever you leave it down here. And also it gives it more action with the hook dangling below it instead of just the worm hanging onto the hook. You're also going to need to add a clam weight. I like these clam weights because they're easier to put on compared to those other weights where you have to slide it on before you put on the other hooks. And then they also, you got to put it next to the hook to where whenever you're fishing and you're in the water, it'll come up and down and it'll hit your hook to where you get more rattling noise and you get more fish to come at you. All you have to do to put on a clam weight is take your pliers, put the clam weight in between them, and then you put the slit onto the line and you just pinch hard with either your fingers or your pliers. But make sure you put it close, otherwise it'll definitely come off. And just like this, you've made another wacky style with the worm. Now, some days you'll be casting and you'll just be getting caught up in weeds the whole day and you're just going to be losing worms. So you're going to want to make a Texas rig or a weedless style, which is still with your weight on to where you get that extra rattle with the hook, but you're going to have to take off your worm and put it on a little different. After you get your worm off, you're gonna want to find the thicker side, the top of it, not the little skinnier side, and you're going to take the thicker side and feed it straight through the hook. Once you get it to about halfway through that middle of the hook, you're going to want to pull the point of the hook out. After you've done that, you're going to pull the worm all the way to the top till you get it onto the eye of the hook. After you get it on the eye of the hook, then you're going to go to the middle of the worm and put it on the hook, on the pointy edge of the hook. But make sure that the hook doesn't come out the other side of the worm, because then that'll just defeat the purpose of a weedless style, and it'll still get hung up on those weeds. But don't worry, because when that fish bites down, you'll still be able to see the hook come out, and you'll still be able to catch that fish. Now, I hope you don't think I'm ugly or wacky, but I do hope you take what I've taught you today and go catch some fish on your next bass fishing adventure.